Hello, 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 and welcome again to Pixel Fix, your favourite YouTube channel and podcast, covering all things retro computer related. I'm Dean, your host, and joining me this time we have...
Me. Andy, you know me.
Andy, but we also have somebody new joining us this week.
Hello, I'm Simon.
Hello, Simon. Fantastic to have you on the show.
Finally.
That's what it says down here anyway on the screen.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yes, unfortunately Rob couldn't make it this time, but don't worry, he will be back in the future. But we have a perfectly serviceable replacement, Simon. So I thought, because Simon's new to the show, why don't we get a little bit of background, find out what Simon's retro story is, because everybody's got one.
Well, he doesn't know anything about VR, so that's fine, isn't it?
No, and we will, because we have briefly probably taken the mickey out.
Yeah, we have. And he knows, and he gets upset, but we still do it anyway.
In good faith. I really want to get into the VR stuff, but Simon, why don't you start what's your retro story?
My path, as it were, I started with a Pong machine, then we moved on to a ZX Spectrum 48K, which ultimately failed through when I was about 6 years old. The only way you could reset it, as you know...
You're not that young.
is when I had it. 6 or 8, something like that.
8?
Yeah?
Yeah.
The only way you could reset the Spectrum at the time was you
when it
from the
came
back.
out. Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's right.
So the power socket failed, and it was, Dad, the computer's not working, so we took it back to the shop and got another one. That turned out to be a plus.
Oh, never mind.
And we had that until it eventually it either failed, or for some reason, or we decided to just not use it anymore.
Did you take it apart?
Oh, I took everything to pieces. Then
nothing changed, has it?
And then my dad, for his motor mechanic business he bought a Commodore Amiga as a business machine.
Yeah.
And that was in the office for less than 6 months before he decided that me and my brother could use it a lot better for games than he could use it for business.
What was it, 500?
Amiga 500, Amiga 500, and he bought it with the Commodore 88331 Mark 1, I think
the
it
monitor,
was. Yeah, the monitor.
You mean the Philips?
Yeah, this is the Philips one, and a dot matrix printer of some...
Oh, cool. A Star LC10 or something like that.
Could well be, yes. Yeah, I don't know where the printer's gone now. I don't know where the monitor's gone. The Amiga gave away to a friend in a family who then sold it on, and eventually someone else who wasn't related to any of those people asked me if I wanted an old computer, and it happened to be my Amiga. So yes, I've still got that now. So I also have a big love for virtual reality machines, built in 1992. I got my first machine at the end of 2012. No, it wasn't. I bought it at the end of 2012. It arrived January 4th, 2013. Upon which I restored the machine and took it to retro revival event, Sidentine 2013.
Yeah, that's when we met, isn't it?
And that's when I met Andy.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
so that's where that connection.
Yes,
that's your first introduction to the museum.
Yeah, you needed a screwdriver or something, didn't you?
I did, yes. Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, it is about a screwdriver, and I was introduced to Andy as the short, fat guy with grey hair and glasses.
Yeah.
Could be any of us.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. To be honest, it's still true.
Absolutely.
Still true. Nothing's changed there. 10 years ago. Yeah. I've definitely got less hair and a lot more grey.
So how come you ended up then with the VR machine? Was it just something
I've always wanted.
Yeah.
So I used to go to my local arcade a lot because it was right close to my college. Yes, Thomas's Arcade it was in Leicester. Okay. And they had a sit-down VR machine.
Right.
And I was playing heavy metal on the game at the time.
Yeah.
It's been renamed to XLX since. I'm not sure exactly the history of that.
But I find out that, mate.
Yeah. But I was playing heavy metal a lot, and then they got a second machine, and I beat everybody I played because I played it so much, apart from one guy. And as far as I know, he doesn't remember this himself, but I think it was a gentleman called Mark Giles.
Yeah.
And Mark Giles was one of the senior software engineers at Virtuality because it was a Leicester company. But he congratulated me on a good game.
Yeah.
Whoever it was is definitely a Virtuality staff member.
Okay.
But yeah, since the day I went back to Thomas's Arcade one day and it had been replaced with Virtual Fighter, which in itself is a fantastic game, wasn't virtual reality.
No.
I was like, well, okay, that was that, or is it? I used to cycle past the factory every day to and from work.
Virtuality. So for people who don't know, then we're talking about the VR machines that were made by
Virtuality
in
Industries
in
Leicester.
Yeah. And they were. What sort of year are we talking about? Early 90s, mid 90s?
Very early 90s
Okay.
until late 90s, I think, about 97, something like that, I think, or 96, I think they
Technically, it's
finally
before
closed.
that because they had a lot to do with the Montfort University, didn't
They
they?
did, yes, yeah.
So
Originally, they became Virtuality in 91, but
Right.
they were doing
Stuff
as
before
W
that.
Industries from 86, 87
Yeah.
onwards.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But they got the factory in Leicester Forest East on the A47,
Yeah.
which I cycle past to and from work, as I say, every day. And one day I went in and asked if they had any job vacancies, and they were telling me they were about to close.
Yeah.
So on that day onwards, I just every so often I'd look around, see
Yeah.
what's available.
Yeah.
And what whetted my appetite first is I saw 2 virtual reality machines on eBay for £1,200, and my good wife said no, because we can't afford it and you haven't got the space for 2 of them.
Yeah.
But it whetted my appetite, and I
Yeah.
kept on looking, and I found my first one, which I say arrived on January 4th, 2013.
And so, for people who don't know, you can obviously Google this, and we might weave in a few shots of them into this video, so you can see. But they do 2 versions, right? Or maybe they
Yeah.
did more. But the ones
Well,
I've seen, there's 2 versions.
Mega base ones.
For what we had, they did the first generation machines, which were Amiga 3000 based, with custom graphics cards and hardware tracking. And they did a sit-down machine, which was launched first in 1991. And then shortly after, about 6 months or so after, they did the standard machine, which was, again, the Amiga 3000.
Right.
It just had a different tracking system because it tracked your head and a hand tool,
Okay.
whereas the sit-down machine only tracked your head.
Right. And they're quite big, these machines.
Yes, they are,
right?
yes.
And I guess VR was in the early days.
Yeah.
Back in the 90s.
It was, but they got it right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say,
Yeah.
if I say the sit-down one in particular,
Yeah.
I find extraordinary.
Yes.
The standard ones are great, but
The
the
standard
sit-down
ones, I
ones are
think, are more
stunning.
immersive because you have to move more.
They are, but the
the
sit-down
games,
ones,
I
the
think, are better.
games, the
games are better.
controlling a
A
mech
mech, yeah.
is just. I mean, I love Mech Warrior anyway,
Yeah.
and that to me is like a big version of Mech Warrior and an immersive version. It's just awesome.
So the company in 1993 they did their second gen machines, which are PC 486 based.
Right.
Again with all custom graphics cards and systems in it. Much slimmer line headsets, much lighter headsets,
nice.
higher graphics, high res graphics, and textured graphics. I don't have any of those machines. I have bits of them,
Yeah.
but I don't have a working one. And then ultimately, the last product, which only went to prototype level, was the virtuality-based Jaguar VR headset.
Okay.
Which we have a prototype.
We have a prototype.
So what? Do you know how much those VR machines would have been new back in the sort of 90s?
Depends on how much a Porsche in general would have cost.
Yeah.
It was known that John Walden, the founder of the company,
Uh-huh.
W Industries, would go around the shop floor and say to the workers, be careful of those machines, they cost the same as a Porsche.
Right. Okay. So whatever a Porsche cost in the sort of 90s,
Yeah,
that's the sort of value. Right?
Yeah.
And then you managed to get hold of one.
yes.
Are you comfortable sharing what you would have paid for it at that
Absolutely.
time? Yeah.
I paid £250 for it,
Wow.
which I think was an absolute bargain.
Absolute steal.
And it was,
They make a 3000.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Nowadays,
Definitely
to
now.
buy
yeah,
3,000, you're talking over a grand.
Oh yeah,
well,
absolutely.
yeah, but I also, because I've been collecting spare parts for these
Yeah.
machines wherever I can, I bought 2 Amiga 3000s and 1 VR headset for 130 quid.
It's crazy, isn't
Well,
it?
I mean, going on from that, I mean, not to take what's away from Simon, but when we got the other 2 machines, our machines that we got from Canada,
Canada, yeah.
they didn't cost anything at all, but we had to pay for shipping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the value of the machines themselves at this moment in time, almost priceless.
Yeah.
Well, so how many of these do you think there are left? the world.
Okay,
Can't be
so
that many, right?
From what I've heard, I'm not sure how accurate this is, but what I've heard, the sit-down machines on the first gen was about 180 made,
And we've got 2.
and the stand-up machines about 350.
Okay.
And we've got 4.
Yeah. The second gen machines, it went into the thousands.
Yeah.
But I also know when they closed, there was a warehouse full of them,
Really.
Yeah.
so they didn't shift out as many as they
No.
made.
Okay.
And it's unfortunately that warehouse was located between the museum and where I live.
Yeah.
I could have had them.
I mean, I'd say as having 6 machines, and
Yeah.
We say we because Simon obviously owns some, we own some, and we sort of own some together, and it's our collection.
Yeah.
I would say we've definitely got the biggest collection in the world.
Yeah.
I would
No,
definitely.
I
would
know
say that.
of probably around 30 of us around the world, of which about 2 or 3 of those are working.
Yeah.
Really.
So even if, because I know there's an arcade in America who contacted me who bought 12 machines, 2 of them work. So even though we don't have the largest collection,
No.
we have the largest collection of working
Working
machines.
ones. Yeah, we've got 4 working ones
Ish.
at the minute. Ish. Sometimes. On a good day, with the wind blowing in the right direction.
So tell me a little bit about the common problems, because we've had a few problems with ours over the years, right? What do you typically see as the things that go wrong?
The LCD screens in the headsets are starting to fail. They're 30 years old,
Yeah.
30 years old plus.
Yeah.
The screens are starting to fail. The audio amplifiers are sometimes starting to fail on 1 or 2 of the machines. Say 1 or 2 of the machines. I've got lots of spare parts at home. Yeah, and definitely the potentiometers, which do the volume and the brightness for the screens, they are failing as well. We're putting something in place, it's work in progress at the minute. It's nearly ready to go, where we can change the screens, so we don't need to rely on these failing potentiometers or the screens anymore. We've got extra hardware going into the headsets now, and then we can replace the screens with nice bright screens again.
Excellent. That'll help with the longevity of the system as well.
Yes,
Keep
yeah.
it running for
Yeah.
this on. And if anybody wants to try them out, because I'm amazed at how good they are. I mean, we've probably all tried the modern sort of VR systems, right? Which are great.
Oh yeah,
The tracking.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal.
But I think these are awesome. Do you remember? Maybe 4 or 5 years ago, we took one to Play Expo in Manchester. Sorry,
Yeah.
And it was a bit of risk because they're not the easiest things to move.
No,
right?
you have to dismantle them to move them, and they don't like being moved.
Don't like
anyway.
being moved, do they? A bit like ourselves, really.
No, yeah, pretty much.
But do you remember the queues?
Yeah,
And we were
yeah.
was it £3 we were charging to have a
I think it was £2 a go.
I think
Two-
I think it's
£2
too
a
quick.
go.
yeah.
Because what we decided, because how we worked it, is a pound was going to go to the museum and a pound was going to go back to me for
Yeah,
the money I spent
that's
on
right.
installing
That's
them.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was fair enough, wasn't
Yeah.
it?
Absolutely.
And I know we made quite a bit of money out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it was
And
amazing.
the queues,
£150 each, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, easily. Yeah.
because it was one of those. It was quite novel to have one there, wasn't it?
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
event.
But still,
Well, I remember
I
we
think it
took
still
it-
would be if we did that.
I
But
agree.
we just got to the point where now they're in situ and where they are. A, we know they don't like being moved, and B, quite like staying out in the air anyway. And they're a big thing to move. And it takes 4 people to move them.
Absolutely.
Simple as that.
I remember the time we took one to Loughborough,
oh mate, don't.
and it was a cold evening.
It was ice cold.
It was ice cold.
Yeah.
We had to walk up metal stairs outside, which were icy, carrying a 120 kilogram virtual reality machine.
Yeah, and
There's a car crash waiting to happen.
it was used. It was well worth doing, but
Yeah.
we vowed after that event we'd never do it again. it was very scary, to be fair. We were literally teetering on an icy metal staircase with this, 120 kilo machine.
Yeah.
It was horrible. It was literally horrible.
Yeah.
I would never do it again.
So tell us a bit about the games and roughly how many games were made for them. What sort of genres are we talking about?
Okay, so the standard machines, I'm only talking first gen here because
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of information about the second gens. Standard machines, there was Dr. Nightmare, which we have up and running. Legend Quest, which I'm planning to get running once we get the new screens in. I did try it on one of the machines, and for some reason you can't see it clear enough. I don't know why.
Right.
Dr. Nightmare, you can see it and play it. It's not brilliant on those screens, but Legend Quest you can't seem to see what's going on. So when I get the new screens in, I'm going to re-go through Legend Quest. So let's tell you about the games as I go through them. Dr. Nightmare is literally a first-person shooter. Incidentally, what I found out recently, we just do going around and shooting each other to see who can get the highest kills.
Yeah.
That's known as training mode. The proper game is capture the flag,
Yeah.
which we do have on there.
We do, yeah.
But one of the machines crashes with capture the flag.
Yeah.
But it's a hardware system, it's a software fault, so all you need to do is clone the hard drives and
Yeah.
we can cure that
Cool.
problem.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, we sort of knew about that, didn't we? But
Yeah.
we didn't know it was actually. We thought that was like an
An
add-on thing.
alternative,
Yeah,
yes,
an alternative. Yeah.
Then there is Legend Quest, which is ultimately a 4-player game. You can play it solo as well, though.
Yeah.
And it's a fantasy adventure. You can be a human, an elf, a dwarf, or a wizard, or something like that. I've got to check who they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gauntlet. And it's a little bit like an escape room kind of thing. You have to figure out how to get to the next room as a solo person or a teamwork, depending on how many players there are. There is Grid Busters, which, if you imagine Iron Man with a rocket launcher, pretty much you've got jetpack suits on and a rocket launcher, you're flying around in an arena shooting the other guys down. Played it once. I don't know how I played it because I've got files for all the games and I cannot find the one that loads anymore. I've got it somewhere but I cannot find the one that loads, so I'll keep on going. I think that's it for the stand-up machines.
Yeah.
Sit-down machines, there is 5 or 6 I can think of. So we've got Exorex, which used to be heavy metal. It's basically a mech warrior game,
Yeah.
walking around a cityscape and shooting other robots. There is Flying Aces, which is World War One biplane shooting the Red Baron down.
That's great. as well.
Again, up to a 4-player. We've got 2 sit-down machines.
Yeah.
We tried networking on Exorex, it didn't work. We haven't tried it on Flying
No,
Aces
no,
yet,
not yet.
so we'll give that a go in the near future. I've got Total Destruction, which is a destruction derby racing game. 2 things about that. Neither of our sit-down machines have steering wheels.
Right.
It was an option when you were buying them, but we don't have a steering wheel, so it's a bit odd to play a racing game with twin joysticks.
It's doable.
Yeah.
It's doable,
You could do it,
but the thing about a racing game in virtual reality, most of the time when you're racing, you're looking forward. I don't think it lends itself to virtual reality too
Makes
well.
sense, yeah.
There is VTOL, which is vertical takeoff and landing. It's basically a Harrier jump jet. That is their first game they brought out as almost a tech demo for the sit-down machines. I've not played that. I cannot get that to start. I think I know why, in all honesty. It's down to crediting the machine and starting the game. Inside these machines is a Commodore Amiga. It's not an arcade machine, but you need to give it signals to say I want to start this game, and every game is different. It's just understanding what key I've got to push on the keyboard, basically. And the last one is Battlesphere, which is a space flight sim. You've got full 360 movement, you can fly around and you've got to shoot the enemy spacecraft down. It's incidentally 2-player. Player 1 is a pilot, player 2 the gunner. So that would be good to play.
That's cool.
I've only found that out recently as well.
Yeah.
They're the 5 games I've got installed on those machines because we can choose the game on one of the machines. The games I don't have, there was a game called Hero. Hero, I think there was 2 versions of it. One was based on an aftershave, an American aftershave called Hero. They did a lot
Well, of course you'd base a
Yeah,
video
yeah,
game
well,
on an aftershave, wouldn't
They,
you? I mean,
they
it's-
did a lot of advertising through virtual reality.
Yeah.
A lot of experiences through advertising. And that one I have played. You're in a hang glider, you're just gliding around. It's supposed to give you a feel of freedom.
Yeah.
So too.
Maybe. But what I've heard, on that hang glider Hero game, you don't do anything, you just fly around and then land.
Okay.
But as you go over the city, apparently one of the Easter eggs in there is a police car chasing the 18 band.
Really?
Really.
Wow.
I've never seen it, but I've only ever played it once. But
We've got to get that. We've got to see that.
we've got to see that, haven't we?
Yeah, yeah.
Taz told me that. So Taz is one
But
of the guys.
Taz making it up.
Maybe.
We know Taz. Come on.
Taz is one of the software engineers
Yes,
from
He's
Virtuality.
great. He's a great lad.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's probably worth touching on that as well. So because of your love for the VR machines and the preservation and everything else, you've sort of made friends with a couple of guys who were developing this. So tell us a little bit about
I've stalked ex-employees.
Okay.
That's the word.
Stalked.
Yeah.
So, I told you about Mark Giles. My first port of call was when Andy contacted me and said, "You're never going to believe this. Someone who used to work at Virtuality wants to come and visit the museum."
Right.
His name was Justin Walton. and he came along and he was in tears.
Yeah,
We only
he
had
was.
one machine here at the
He
time.
was, yeah.
He was in tears because he was one of the shop floor managers,
Yeah.
and he pretty much had his hand on almost every machine that went out.
Including ours.
And he was fully expecting it to be really, really not working
Yeah,
properly,
yeah.
no sound, one of the screens off.
It was
Now,
pretty
admittedly, that's how they've evolved to be.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
at that point in time, it was a fully working machine.
Yeah.
And yeah, he was taken away by it, he really was.
Yeah.
By the way, this is absolutely why we do this at the museum. Not because we like to make people cry, just because we like to bring back those nostalgic
Yes,
things that people
Yeah, I mean,
remember.
that's happened just today, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
A couple of people today.
So Justin contacted somebody he knows called Carlos, who was one of the service
Yeah.
engineers.
He's superb.
Carlos would only come if Justin gave him something that Justin owned, and Carlos wanted it. And I'll get onto that device soon because I've got it now.
Right.
Yeah.
So Carlos came along and traded this device for the exchange of appearing at the museum.
Been friends with Carlos. since, haven't
Carlos
we?
is one of my best mates now.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
great. He's
Great lad.
he loves helping me fixing the machines as well. Now the device which Carlos got and has given to me is called a vocalizer.
Yeah.
So the game Legend Quest, so you can change your voices because all the headsets have microphones on
Insert
them.
credit.
Insert.
So all the headsets have microphones
Yeah.
on them, and these vocalizers were designed to change your voice to the character you're going to be.
Oh wow.
So the other players can hear you as an elf or
As a different
wizard.
character.
Yes,
Right.
yeah.
That's
Um,
pretty advanced.
Revolutionary. Isn't
Yeah.
it?
That's pretty advanced because even now the modern VRs don't really.
No.
I mean, I'm sure the technology exists
Yeah,
to allow us
yeah.
to do it, obviously. But,
But I've got one of those
Get
now in
ready.
my
Okay.
collection, as it were.
Yeah, no, it's
this is great. So I would say that we've mentioned it before. I would say, Simon, that you probably are the leading expert now on these VR machines. I would say.
Possibly.
I mean, I know you're very modest, right?
Right, so I will still ask the people I've
Yeah,
met through
Of
Virtuality.
course, yeah.
So anybody I've met with Virtuality, I will ask them if I'm struggling on fixing something or how to
Yeah.
do something. And a lot of the time, they will say, well, I think it might be like this, but
Right.
I can't be
How
sure
long ago
now."
is it? Absolutely.
30 years.
That's
Yeah.
right. So,
It has been said by Virtuality X management that I now know collectively more than they
Yeah.
all know individually.
Yeah. yeah.
So yes, I could be classed as an expert on them.
so
Still
I,
can't fix them properly.
No.
so genuinely,
You try,
on
you try.
behalf of the museum, I think we want to say thanks, Simon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah.
Thank you for,
Cheers,
for,
guys.
for preserving these VR machines because I don't know who else would do it, and we wouldn't have them here, would we,
No.
if it weren't for you.
No, definitely not. No.
And the fact that you've been happy to repair them and get your hands dirty, sort them all out, allow people
absolutely,
to
yeah.
use it. That's brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Cheers, guys, thank you.
so
Much appreciated.
so good one for
I mean, no, we rip the piss, but
Yeah, we
have
do.
to.
Yeah.
We have to.
Well,
absolutely
that's-
we do,
that's
but,
part of
but we
being-
don't mean
part of
it.
being,
Part
part of being
of the
this team,
team,
isn't
yeah.
it? Yeah, I mean, 'cause we do.
Absolutely.
It's just us.
And I would also say, if anybody who's watching this or anybody who's listening on the podcast, if you've got any information, any bits of software, any bits of hardware, any connections at all with the VR systems that we're talking about,
Yeah.
please get in touch with us because I'm sure
Yeah.
that you'd love to
Yeah, I'd
just
love to know
find out
this,
more,
yeah.
get hold of any other stuff. That'd be
Yeah.
great.
I mean, incidentally, one of the things we do, something not really mentioned, with our stand-up machines, the bass.
Yeah.
Everybody we sort of
Oh, yeah,
bump
yes.
into, we get them to sign it,
Yeah.
and we've got a lot of signatures on there.
Yes,
now.
yeah.
We've met a good percentage of
It
the
was
team.
about 25 signatures.
Yeah.
on
Yeah,
there,
it's
wasn't
right.
it?
So
Yeah.
we've done that on 3 of the machines now. haven't we?
Two of them. The one from the museum and mine from
Oh, yours.
home.
That's right. We did
Yes,
it on 2. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, that's something. So if you do know people that work there, and
Yeah.
if they want to come and visit and let us know, we'll make sure the bases are here so we can get them signed. And
There is somebody coming who.
yes, there is somebody else.
Yes,
isn't
he's
there?
coming. Mark Hardisty's coming.
Yes, right.
He's also from Gremlin
Oh,
Barracks.
okay.
Yes, that's
Oh,
right.
brilliant.
So
Yeah.
he's heading this way in the near future.
Ah, superb.
So,
That'd be
yes.
excellent.
So I think that's important to mention. So it's another part of the legacy that we've got.
Yeah.
We've even got the main man, haven't we? So
Yes,
yeah.
yeah.
And what I also love is that local connection that we've got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That we're obviously the RCM is based in Leicester in the UK, and Virtual Reality we're based in Leicester, and I
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
think that's. In fact, we've got another Leicester connection, haven't we? Later on.
Yes,
we have, which we'll get to a bit later. So it's all a bit local.
It is.
It's a
Local
local museum for local people.
Yeah. That'll put people off.
Hey, happy days.
Yeah.
So brilliant, Simon. It's been fantastic
Thanks,
hearing
mate.
about the VR. So thank you very much for that.
No
And what I wanted to do now was just talk about one of the events that we did quite recently. All three of us went to, and in fact we co-sponsored the zzap 64 show.
Absolutely.
So Andy, why don't you give us a bit of your,
So yeah, it's one of those events where obviously Chris Wilkins organised it all and invited us through to assist, and we took a lot of systems. It took a lot of sorting out, and you've got to make sure that you sort of almost bench test the systems and give them a soak test. And
we took about 40.
We took 40 odd systems.
40 odd, Commodore systems.
I mean, we did have a couple of casualties on the day. The Commodore 128D
we always have casualties on events.
was very poorly.
Yeah.
But we think it's just a caps problem. But all in all, I think it was truly magical, the event.
It's great.
It was,
really
and fair play to Chris, for organising such a massive, an achievement, and meeting people that we know, meeting people we didn't know.
Yeah.
It was. I think it's the same with a lot of events we've done in the past, and I think we get the same feeling here when we do our events at the museum itself. Our legendary events are just amazing.
Yeah.
But that event to me was one of those events where I got to see some of my best mates. I got to see some of my heroes. I got to just chill a bit as well, and it was.
Let's go through them. So people like Jeff Minter,
and
Giles, were there.
Giles, and then we got
Superb.
Mark Knight was there, my mate Mark. TDK, for those that know him, he's a wonderful guy. John Hare was there.
Simon Butler was there.
To Cambridge.
Yeah, and we got to talk to all these people, and it was like
it was just Andrew Braybrook was there.
Yeah, Andrew Braybrook as well, and
David Pleasance.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it was a sort of a who's who.
Yeah.
Of the Commodore
and being able to
world.
show some of our kit off. We took one of the Commodore keyboards with us and had that, and we had a lot of machines running the Kung Fu flash carts, so you could pick several games.
Yeah.
And it, we had, like I said, we had one. I think we had two casualties, didn't we? We had the Commodore 128D, and then we had one power supply that
That's
died.
right.
And I think
It was 4 power supply, was it?
No, it was a Commodore 64 power supply.
Oh no, the 64 was when something got moved and put a power socket out, didn't it?
That was and we took some bits and bobs to sell.
We did quite well, didn't we?
And one of our guys we have to mention, who sort of, we don't really, I think we've mentioned him before, Simon Gould, 8-Bitronics. He supplied us with 25 Kung Fu flash cartridges to sell on the day, and he came and sold, and he expected to sell probably 2 or 3 because he thought everybody got them. We sold 24.
Oh, 24 was it?
Yeah, we bought one back with us.
Unbelievable. So popular.
So we have to thank him, I think, at this point, because he supplies us with a lot of our cartridges that we sell in our shop.
Yeah.
And obviously cartridges we use ourselves in the museum. And without him, he's been a massive support to us.
And let's face it, the Commodore 64s are so much more user friendly at shows with a Kung Fu flash cartridge.
Absolutely. I mean, he doesn't design them; he makes them for us, and he sells them at his own shop as well. But we sell them on behalf of him. Fantastic. And the event, going back to the event was it was such a chilled, lovely environment. Nothing sort of phased us.
It was hard work.
It was hard work. Don't get me wrong.
Long day.
It was, and but it was just a really pleasant event. Everything about it, it's and the venue was lovely. I have to say the venue was.
So it was at the Holiday Inn in
Kenilworth.
Yes,
and obviously we're going to be doing the Crash event, which is going to be held at the same venue. So we'll be taking our Sinclair kit along. Which again, thanks to Chris for inviting us and helping us, letting us be part of the team.
And we're proud, aren't we, to show?
Oh, absolutely.
And just one point I wanted to make. So there are just a very small number of people who have sort of raised an eyebrow at the number of systems that we have here at the museum.
Yeah.
And we're actually very proud of that. I think their reasoning is they'd like to have one. we're keeping the systems from the community.
Yeah.
But I would say that what maybe people don't realise is because we're a museum, because we support things like the crash events and the other shows around the country, we wouldn't be able to show 40 different systems. Because we had 20 Commodore 64, or was it 20 or 15 or something?
No, we had 20
Commodores.
Yeah, we had 20
had
Commodore 64s.
64Cs and the original.
Yeah.
Brit
As we
ones.
went through our stores and
Yeah.
ready for this event,
Yeah.
we found probably about 10 Commodore 64s immediately which didn't
Yeah.
work.
Didn't work, or
Absolutely,
the chips
So,
were dead,
yeah.
or the
Yeah.
PLAs were dead, or
Yeah.
That's right.
something, or the
But
CIAs,
to those
whatever.
people who
Yeah.
say we're hoarding them,
Yeah.
how many Amiga 1200s were made? How many
Yeah.
Commodore 64s were made?
Yeah, millions.
Now, they've not all gone to landfill.
Yeah.
There is still plenty on
Yeah,
the planet
that's
for everybody who wants.
No, absolutely, and I do understand. You know, if I was there and I was desperate to get hold of a machine and I couldn't get one, and maybe I saw somebody who had a lot, I understand
Yeah, I
the
do as
logic.
well.
I understand the logic,
But,
Yeah.
but I don't agree with the logic because
No,
I
it's
know why we need to have so many.
It's like
Yes.
we've got 3 fully working, thanks to Colin, Quasar, Sam Cooper.
Yes.
Now, I don't think that's excessive.
No.
I think
No,
we've got 3 because
Yeah.
we've got one that we use all the time.
Yeah.
Second one, just for
Yeah.
just in case that one breaks, and the third one, it is a show machine.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, we show it off,
Yeah.
and it's the same with all the machines we've got. You know, we at any time, we open every weekend.
Yeah.
Rain or shine, we're open every weekend. And we're going to have machines that are just going to die. Simple
Yeah.
as that.
Absolutely.
Well,
I mean-
and they are failing. The older
Yeah.
they
Of
get.
course they are.
And
And
we
it's-
recap of
Yeah.
nearly every machine we use.
Absolutely,
We're gonna
yeah.
need new caps of
But
it
it's
in the
those
future.
custom chips, isn't it? You
yeah,
say
and this is
Sam
my
Cooper,
argument. Yeah,
You know, the
definitely.
ASIC on
Yeah,
the.
absolutely.
There aren't
Yeah.
any more.
Well,
So
The
if
Amiga 3000,
yeah.
the Agnes chip hasn't been
No.
remade yet.
No,
So it's nearly
no.
£200 worth of chip if that fails.
Absolutely, yeah.
If you're looking
But it's the same with all the kit.
Yeah.
No, there's certain machines like you can get almost parts off the shelf.
Yes.
And
BBC Micro.
BBC Micro, for example, there is some stuff in there that maybe, but but even BBC Micros, it's one of them things where we might need to do a show where we need 20 BBC
Exactly.
Micros
Yeah.
Exactly.
or 20 Dragons.
Yeah.
We've probably got 20 Dragons. We don't know if they all work because we've not had a chance to check them
Well,
recently.
it's very likely they don't all work.
Yeah.
So if we're doing an event where we need 10 dragons, we might only just
Do-
be able
enough,
to do
even
that.
if we've got
Yeah,
20.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, I agree with that, Dean. I mean, we have had things in the past where people have sort of had a go, and I'm still going to stick by our ethos. Is the fact that if somebody wants to give us something, even if we've got 5 or 6 or whatever we've got spare parts, or if it's a we've had another machine given to us today this morning, and it came in its box,
Yeah.
and it's the Fairchild
Immaculate.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Channel Fs, and it's excuse me, sorry. The machine itself is immaculate, and I think it's a machine we need to get out.
Yeah.
We've got other machines that are terrible.
Absolutely.
Looks like they've been dragged through edges and things.
Yeah.
So if it's a better one than what we would have
Yeah.
got, I'm all for it.
Absolutely. And as we say almost every time, our museum here is a hands-on museum.
Yeah.
There are a couple of items behind glass,
Of course there is.
but 99% of what we have here is come and play with it, come and use it, it's hands-on.
And
Even
if
the bits behind
yeah,
the
absolutely, mate. Absolutely.
If someone shows particular interest,
Yeah.
then we'll take it out
Absolutely.
and have a look at
Yeah,
it.
yeah, absolutely. That's
we
what
did do
we
today.
want people to
We want
do
people
that,
to
right?
ask us
Yeah,
what
it's,
this
it's
stuff
very
is.
tactile. And again, that's another reason we need to have backup machines, because we're using them, they're switched on. I mean, these machines, they're on, 10, 12 hours a
Yeah.
day
Yeah.
at every use, and over time they're going to fail. So, that's
We have lots because we need them.
we have lots because
Absolutely.
we need them, right. So that's the zzap 64 show, and you touched on Crash.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we did the Crash event last year. That was
Yeah.
the first one.
Yeah.
And that was superb.
It
Wasn't
was
Yes.
amazing.
Yeah.
And we've been invited back
Yeah.
again. Thank you, Chris, for this year's Crash, which is
Yes.
November
November.
the 18th. Is it?
It's something like that.
Something
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
yeah,
Yes,
it is,
yes,
yeah,
Same
yeah,
venue.
Yeah.
So the Holiday Inn. I don't even know if there's many tickets left.
I don't
for
think
that,
there is.
So
I don't think there is many.
yeah.
So get your tickets soon and we'll see you there.
Exactly.
absolutely see you
But
there,
again,
yeah.
I'm so looking forward to that show. We'll see
Yeah.
all our friends again, and we, I mean, who doesn't love? Well, there's probably lots of people who don't love the Sinclair machines. Me personally,
I love them.
absolutely love
I
them.
love Commodore and Sinclair, Sammy.
Yeah,
And if anybody that knows me would know that I love most of the
There's
systems
room
we've
in the world for
Well,
lots of different
as I said, my
systems.
path was a Sinclair Spectrum
Yeah.
and a Commodore Amiga.
Yeah.
I missed for 64, so I will be honest. I fully respect the 64.
got.
I don't have as much love for it as I do for the Spectrum,
Yeah.
though.
No, but you still got respect for it.
Yeah.
And it's funny because some of the love we have for the machines isn't based on the technical ability necessarily.
No.
It's on that nostalgia.
Yeah,
exactly.
What do we have as a kid? You know, what do we grow up with?
Yeah.
I mean, one machine. I mean, some of the machines we've got out at the minute that I think I sort of missed back in the day is the MSX machine.
Yeah,
Certainly the MSX2s and
They
the
are
2 pluses are
absolutely
stunning.
awesome.
They're amazing machines, and we've currently got some out. Do we need to mention December?
go for it.
Yes.
So
We ought to. So this will be December 2023. Yes.
yes,
Yes.
yes.
I'm just thinking for people who might.
Oh
be
yes,
watching
sorry,
this
yes,
in the
yes,
future.
absolutely, yeah. 2nd of December.
Yeah.
I keep getting it wrong. I keep saying 3rd. It's the 2nd of
So 2nd
December.
of December 2023.
Saturday 2nd. We're having one of our legendary gatherings,
Mhm.
as we call them, world famous legendary gatherings.
Oh yes.
Well, they are world famous. We've had people from abroad come,
We have.
and some random strangers down my local chip shop were talking
That's
about
true.
it,
What?
which
Yeah.
means it's also legendary.
Legendary.
Wow. I mean.
So there we go.
Yeah.
Anybody that's not been to one of our legendary gatherings, it's like a
It's a party.
it's a party.
It's
Yeah,
just a party.
it's a social gathering.
Yeah.
And basically you get to come and meet with people, your mates, or if you've never been before, you get to meet lovely people.
Yeah.
We usually have
And us.
and us. Oh yeah,
Lovely
we're-
people and us.
we usually have live music on. And we've got
Raffles.
raffles.
Raffles, yeah.
The raffles. No, the raffle last time was
Well,
amazing.
tell us what was the big prize for the raffle last
Well,
time?
the big prize was 2 big prizes last time. There was a BBC Micro,
Yeah.
which was amazing,
Yeah.
and then there was a pie storm.
Yeah.
Ruled by storm there.
But there was
And then
literally.
halfway through the raffle,
Yeah.
Oh, Jim Bagley.
Jim Bagley put a spanner in it and put a micro Game Boy in.
Bless him.
Literally tiny
And
thing.
my
Tiny
number
thing.
was called out next.
No
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
I thought,
That's
no,
good.
I want the vinyl.
That's,
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
We had 40. I think we had 40 items, didn't we, last time?
Yeah.
And it took
Which is
an
ridiculous.
hour, an hour and a half.
Yeah, but
Um,
that raffle raised more money
Yeah.
than
It
any
did
other
3
raffle we've done.
or 400 quid, wasn't it? It was
Yeah.
ridiculous amount
We
of money.
usually $250.
But anyway, we have a bar,
Yeah.
reasonably priced bar. We have hot food. We have we've got special guests. We know Jim Bagley's come in, and we think David Pleasance has come in. But there might be some other people as well.
Quasar will probably come.
Yeah, Colin. I
Mr.
imagine Colin.
Mr. Sam Coupe.
Yes,
Yeah.
Colin
Yeah.
came last time. Colin loves the place,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and we love him
If he-
anyway.
If he could be here, he'd be
Yeah,
here.
he's another one of
Yeah.
our best mates. We appreciate what he does.
Yeah.
He brought some stuff last time to show us again, and always he knows he's going to destroy my brain
He's
because
such a clever guy.
he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
It's not only does he design sort of new really clever hardware, he codes for it.
Yeah.
Writes all the software for it as well. And
Yeah,
it's like,
it's amazing.
ridiculous.
But yeah, I mean, it's just a social gathering where you come and meet new people or
Yeah.
meet your friends.
Come along, have a
Um,
chat, mingle in.
Yeah,
And we
come
are
and
very-
come and say
Play
hello
some
to us.
games if you want
But the
to.
thing
What-
is, we have a very inclusive environment as
What,
well.
Yeah.
what I would say
So-
it is,
yeah.
what I'd say it is, and I'm not going to make light of this because I think it's very true. It's gone past friendship. It's gone
Yeah.
almost to family.
Yeah.
And everybody that visits and has visited many times would definitely agree with this comment. I know there's several people I could mention right now, but I'm not going to mention names because it's not fair. But there's several people I could say that they love what we do, and to the point where if they'll always be here.
Yeah.
And that's special. It's
is.
very busy.
Yeah.
It will be very busy. There's never any problems. If there's problems, we sort them out straight away. It's just a great day. It's literally a great day. It's a long
I
day,
think
but it's great.
The bigger problems we have is the bins get full quicker
Yeah.
and the toilet roll runs out quicker.
Oh, true.
Yeah, yeah,
That's true.
absolutely, and the place is heated, literally. I
Yeah.
mean, you can't move. I mean, when we do it in the summer, it's great because we can go outside and stuff.
Yeah.
But obviously, in the winter, it's not so great. But
Yeah.
it's wonderful. It's one of my favourite times when we do those.
So if you are interested, if it appeals to you, if you'd like to come and see us, don't wait to get your tickets.
They're not available just yet.
Yeah.
So when are they going to be
They're going to be
available?
available in the next couple of weeks.
Okay, so keep your eye on our website, www.retrocomputermuseum.co.uk.
Yep.
Got that right.
Well,
Andy would have killed me if I'd have got that wrong. Keep your eye on that website, and when the tickets become available, they usually go relatively quickly.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
So, normally Simon's the or Jason.
I try.
You or Jason are
I
the
try
first
to
ones
get
to buy
first.
tickets.
And
you get free entry, and you still buy a ticket.
Yeah,
so
well, we
happy days.
exactly.
Yeah.
We try to do that. We try to support these in, don't we? We will mention it on Facebook as well.
Yeah. Yes,
So keep an eye on Facebook if you follow us on there. Just keep an eye on that. We'll make sure people know. It's going to be a good one this one.
So the challenge for all you listeners and watchers: try and beat me to the first ticket on this event when the tickets go live.
Yeah.
And even I don't know when they go live yet. So
I put them live.
It's an even contest.
It's either me or one of our. Ross will probably put them live.
There's no. Should we do a prize for the?
No, because he'll win it.
No, it's because Simon will be straight.
He gets a free entry next time. Oh no, yes, it's going to work, is it? No, that's So that's going to be a great event. It really is. I can't wait. It's going to be one of them awesome things.
So I thought I'd bring this to a close, talking about something in a sec, but it may well be something that people can come and have a look at for themselves if they come along to the weekends that we're open, or to our legendary gathering.
Yeah.
So we had a very special number of donations that we're very proud of, and another local connection. So Andy, why don't you talk us through it and show us.
Right. So this one's amazing. We got introduced a little while back to a guy called Pete, who worked and works for Rare.
Rare.
So bless him, Pete. He brought us his prototype to show us of the Playboy, and loved what we did here. And he's been back a couple of times, and he came back and mentioned to me via a message that he got a couple of arcade caps.
Yeah.
So the arcade caps were a Play Choice 10, Nintendo Play Choice 10. Yep. So if you know what those are, they're
very
machine. I mean they're and they come with literally 10 games, and 5 of the games that are in this one are Rare games.
Yeah.
And he came along one day. I wasn't here actually when he dropped the stuff off. And the other game is Across the Ball, which was only a prototype. It never actually got released properly. And that needed a new screen. We just happened to have a new screen. Thanks to Tony Ellis for helping us there. Thanks, mate.
Tony, you're a star.
You are, mate. He put the screen in there, and it's fully working now. That's gorgeous. The Play Choice 10 needs a little bit of work.
Needs screens
replacing, really, but it's working, and it's going to work, and we will get it working, and we'll get it out into the museum so people can use it. But 2 lovely donations from our mate at Rare, But he also donated some lovely stuff. This is where it gets.
This makes me shake a little bit.
It does me a bit as well. So he donated 2 of these, and it says property of Rare, and it's got all sorts of things on it.
Yeah.
But this is actually says on the bottom NPDP 11322, but it's actually so it doesn't actually say what it is. It's actually a prototype, and the idea was that cartridge goes into there. That basically would be the game instead of being on a CD or whatever. And it's basically a dev machine. You can actually see it here. It's like disc 1, disc 2, disc 3, disc 2, disc 1, disc 0, error, disc change, open and close, and things like that. So instead of opening and closing the thing, so that's one of the machines. So we've got 2 of these. And also,
these are GameCubes, right?
They're basically GameCubes, yeah. And he also donated this, and this one does actually say on the bottom, Nintendo GameCube NR Reader. And again, it's a dev machine, and it's got a little switch on the side saying USA, Japan, property of Rare again.
I think the NR is Norwegian or something, isn't it? I think it just plays any game.
But this says that's not true. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know whether this was added afterwards, but anyway, it's still got the Nintendo sticker on it. It's got the property of Rare on it. Obviously, it belongs to us now, but again, this one's got property of Rare. It's got the Nintendo sticker on it.
So who knows what Rare games were?
Oh, absolutely,
were developed on.
And the other thing he gave us was this, which is lovely. I mean, I'd only ever seen pictures of these, and it uses 2 things because obviously there's a controller on it and a keyboard, so it needed all the pins to actually control them. I believe there's 2 games. I can never remember the game.
I'm not sure. I've heard only 1 or 2 games.
There is literally 2 games, but it's quite lovely.
Do you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of a Switch, Nintendo Switch.
No, it's really, no, you can see where.
Obviously, without the keyboard on the Switch.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's Japanese as well, by the way, because it's ASCII keyboard controller, made in Malaysia, property of Rare Limited. He actually said on the back KB007, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
So
I don't know what that means.
Quite a low serial number.
That's number 7 then.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
So
But it's odd that that may well have been used for dev.
yeah, I think it
But
probably
if it was
was.
also been used for games, it's a bit of an expense for manufacturing just a few of those.
Yeah.
For just a couple of games.
Yeah.
So it must have been have a
I think there were probably
must-
more made than
They
that.
must have
but-
used a lot of them for dev as well then.
Yeah,
I
but
I'm guessing.
he also donated some other bits and bobs
Yeah.
that we've not got to hear at the minute. But thanks to Pete. It's
Just-
we're
so grateful.
It is because we've got the Playboy here looking
Yeah.
after that for him. And it's like one of those machines where people sort of say, "Oh, what's that?" And explaining what that is to people is like it's amazing really because it's it would have been it could have potentially have been the Game Boy.
Yeah, that's right.
So having this sort of stuff.
And this
again,
is exactly the sort of thing you can come and have a look at the museum.
Yeah, absolutely,
And pick
yeah,
up and touch.
yeah.
We're fine with it. And again, I love. Is it Ashby de la Zouch?
Yes.
Where they
Yeah,
were based, which
they
is
were.
Leicestershire.
Yeah.
And again, so that local connection.
Yeah, absolutely,
is
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
And one of my favourite games ever is a rare game. So Banjo Kazooie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. On the.
I like Grab by the Ghoulies.
Oh, I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
I've heard that. It's
Yeah.
all over Twitter.
Twitter, yeah.
Excellent.
No, but Grab by the Ghoulies is a rare
Yeah.
game that was on the Xbox, the original Xbox,
Okay.
and it's the graphics, the feel,
Yeah.
and when it sort of starts up, it shows the old Ultimate Player game things and stuff like that, and the feel of it is Attack Attack
Yeah.
and all its ancestry. You can see it coming out, and at that point, I think Rare was still,
Yeah.
the Stampers,
Yeah.
and
absolutely.
their influence was still there,
I just
and the beautiful graphics.
Absolutely. I mean, every time you pick up a Rare, if it says Rare on it, you know it's going to be a quality game. every
Absolutely,
time.
yeah.
And I love the Donkey Kong Country.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's such a. It's very cinematic.
It's a cartoon.
Yeah, it's a cartoon.
It is,
Sorry, that
but-
was the word I was looking
Yeah,
for.
absolutely. Yeah, no, it really is. It's
so good, isn't it,
And
to
you
play?
can see that, all the people behind the game, it's almost as long as a movie.
Yeah, that's
because
right.
because you've got graphic artists that, and I mean I know on the original the one on the SNES, the graphics were rendered on Silicon Graphics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now you're talking like even on Silicon Graphics it would have taken in months to render
Yes,
those images.
Absolutely.
And you look at the images now, and they're still hold up, and they're still gorgeous. It's still, and rare stuff especially. From let's take it back to Ashby de la Zouch. Take it back to Ashby games. The Ultimate Player game, ACG. Even back then when they started, they had a polish,
Yeah.
a style.
Oh.
They beat everybody at the time.
Yeah.
Jetpack. No,
Yeah.
but
Jetpack
Jetpack and
itself
Cookie and Trans Am were in
They
16
set
games.
a quality bar
They
that
did,
others
they
really.
did.
They had to up their game.
Absolutely,
to
they
meet.
did.
Absolutely.
When Attic Attack came out
Yeah.
and Saberwolf, and I mean, I'm not a massive fan of isometric games, but Night Lord, the first time I saw it, I went, oh,
Yeah.
how have they done that?
But it took the gaming sort of as we knew it. It took it to another level.
It
didn't
did, yeah,
You
no,
know,
absolutely, yeah.
yeah.
And another, and
We
everybody,
didn't know it could be like
and everybody
this, you know.
copied them
Yeah,
afterwards
that's
because
right, yeah.
and fair play to people that can pull it off as well. But no, the Ultimate games were stunning, and then Rare's carried that on. It kept fair play again to the team that's that's there and been there. I mean, I've got so much respect for the Stampers still. If you ever watch this
Oh,
and you want to come and see us,
please
say-
come down.
please come and say hello. I know you're very
Keep yourselves to yourself.
which is
is
great.
fair
But
enough.
if you ever want to come here and see what we do and see our Ultimate collection that we've got, I mean, we've got lots of Ultimate games, all the Ultimate games. We've got a lot of Rare stuff now. Please come and say hello. Anybody that works for Rare, you're more than welcome. Come and say hello and visit, and we can even organise a special visit.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going to private event for you.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, I'm going to wrap the show up for this time round. So thank you very much for watching and very much for listening. Why not subscribe while you're there? Hit the button, or maybe send us a message. You can follow us as well. We're on X.
Yeah, Twitter. It's Twitter.
Right,
Yeah.
Twitter.
At Pixel Fix Podcast. Why not drop by and follow us and say
Still
hello or
April
something
Fruit,
like
still
that.
April Fruit, so
Yeah,
it's still
absolutely.
Twitter.
Yeah.
So I've been Dean, your host. And I'll see you next time. Thanks very much.
I've been Andy. I'll see you next time.
I've been Simon. See you next time.